London, late summer 1666. A city built of timber and trade. Tight lanes, leaning roofs, windows stuffed with linens, cheap tallow burning through the night. An east wind combs the alleys named for what they smell like: fish, bread, milk. On Pudding Lane, a spark wakes in a sleeping oven. It's polite at first. Fire has good manners, until it doesn't. Elsewhere, a man counts names like coins. Tobias Venn, thief-taker. He drags felons for reward and invents his own encouragements when court is slow. He owns 2 ledgers because one book can carry a man's whole appetite: the thin, public ledger of petty thieves, and the fat, private ledger bound to look like a psalter. Its left column holds the poor. Its right, the gentry. Between them, Tobias stands safe. He hides that fat ledger where no officer thinks to look. A bookbinder's shop in St. Paul's churchyard, shelves of sermons and grammars rising like small cities around the great cathedral. In that same shop, Eliza Dacre tightens twine around stitched quires. 17, ink on her fingers, cipher in her bones. Her father, once a printer, sits in Wood Street, calmed her, shrunk by a debt that won't stand still. The man moving the sum? Tobias Venn. When Tobias brought his private psalter months ago to be sewn into a dull brown wrapper, Eliza saw more than leather and thread. She noticed the catchwords on each leaf, the ornamental flowers in the margins, ivy leaves, inverted hearts, placed too carefully to be accidents. A second language hiding in the first, names whispered in sigils, secrets bound to a prayer book. She stitched his spine and read his sins. Tonight, the sky over the churchyard glows a not-quite dawn orange. Bells stumble, then find a rhythm. The cry runs the river. Anchors, fire, water. Printers and stationers haul their finest sheets into the stone belly of St. Paul's, into the crypt against fear, with the certainty that stone is safety. Eliza helps carry bundles, then opens the drawer beneath the counter. Tobias's false psalter waits between a Polish grammar and a book of ballads. She lifts it. Leather dull, paper ordinary, ink unremarkable. The damage it has done to her father, remarkable. She wraps it in linen, tucks it under her cloak, and steps into the tide of bodies moving toward the cathedral. Tobias arrives to check his power like a man palming a watch. The drawer is wrong. His mouth goes dry. In the ledger's place, a decoy psalter. He knows the feel of his own sin. This isn't it. Across the shop, he clocks Eliza, a bundle at her waist, ink on her throat like a tiny tattoo, a stare like a sharp quill. She doesn't run. She steps into the crowd. He follows, because he is brave and because he must. "Miss Dacre," he says when the noise lets words pass. "You have something of mine." "I have something of everyone's," she answers, not breaking stride. "That's what you made of it." "What do you want?" Tobias asks. "Money? Your father's debt forgiven." "I want the ledger to cease to exist," she says simply. "I'll burn your past and bind the ash into a book that writes us both another life." He almost laughs. Almost. Inside St. Paul's, cool shadow and stone. Men stack bales of paper against pillars, paper cuddling stone the way ivy does. The roof, scaffold in timber and tar for repairs, waits above, patient and mortal. Eliza finds a charwoman's closet, a brazier, a pot of size, a door that will wedge. She lights a neat flame, opens the ledger, and sees what she expected: the poor listed where the law will hurt them, the powerful listed where the ledger will protect them. Magistrate Hobb appears again and again in the right column. Tobias' partner in the management of unfortunate realities. Outside the door, Tobias leans against the wood. "Eliza," he says, using her name the way a key uses wards. "If you burn it, we become ghosts. Ghosts command nothing. Ghosts don't free your father. Ghosts don't hang either," she answers. He is silent. Then, Magistrate Hobb is coming. He won't coax. He'll burn it, and you with it. "Then stand between us," she says. He takes a breath, drops his hat, and steps in. Hobb arrives with men and a gentleman's contempt. He pushes, Tobias pushes back. The pistol at Hobb's belt flashes, drops, spits a spark that dies under Eliza's quick heel and a wet rag. Hobb smiles thinly. "We will all leave with the book," he says. "Grammar is simple. The book belongs to whoever pays its consequences. You bound yourself to him," Eliza tells Tobias. "Not by ink, by cowardice." "I bound myself by hunger," Tobias says. "Then by habit." He eyes the brazier. "I'm considering a new habit. Above them, the roof begins to hum, lead sheets softening into memory, remembering the river. Eliza lifts the ledger. Hobb lunges, and Tobias meets him, small but precise, the way a binder grips a stubborn spine. He flips the moment. The ledger lands at the brazier's edge. The difference between a book and a fire, Tobias says, is that a book remembers. He holds a page, Hobb's page, over the flame. No, Hobb says. Yes, Tobias answers. He touches a corner to the fire. The flame runs a clear line along the bottom edge, curling letters into bruise-colored ghosts. Eliza catches ash in a copper pan, treasure now, while Tobias blocks Hobb without theater, only intent. The leather cover, Eliza's handiwork, tightens and curls, letting out a smell like burnt glue and a bad meal. She swallows grief and gathers ash. St. Paul's exhales in rivers of molten lead. Men run. Papers lift and ignite in midair, little birds turning to light. The corridor outside becomes a red breath. Run, Tobias tells Eliza. South transept. Postern door. She glances at Hobb. He'll chew a smaller name if we go. He will, whether we go or stay, Tobias says. Choose whether he bites you on principle. They run. Hobb chases, and used to chasing. They cross the nave where the law itself flips open on the flagstones, begging to be read. Lead sings down the walls like quicksilver rain. The postern gives them a cough of cooler air. Outside, the churchyard is a theater in collapse. Stalls torch up. A chain of men passes buckets like beads. The cathedral gouts fire into its own yard. Tobias turns to Eliza. Your pan, he says. We need water, not to save the old, to make the new. The Thames is the city's oldest door. Tobias flags a waterman. Goff. Arms like rope, eyes like a fish that has seen hooks. To Blackfriars, Tobias says. Double, if my bundle rides inboard. Goff eyes the pan, shrugs at money, and they skim the river under a sky of cinders. Overhead, bridges crowd with onlookers. Onshore, gunpowder blasts houses into fire breaks. Ash falls like black snow. Eliza's pan rides like a reliquary on her lap. They land at a widow's bindery, brick, bruised, still standing. The widow opens her door, measures the three of them in a single glance, and nods them toward the back room. What have you dragged in, Venn? She asks, seeing the pan, smelling the fire, hearing the city's teeth. He only says, a chance. Eliza opens the pan. The ash is fine, gray, with a silky shine. The ledger's power, ground down to weightless dust. Tobias feels grief and relief together. This is nonsense, Hobb says from the doorway, red-faced and stubborn. Destroy the sum and the debt disappears? Your father won't be saved by an art project. No, Eliza says, measuring water into a stone bowl. He'll be saved by having his name in a book you can use to sell him twice. Tobias grinds rag with a pestle, learning the rhythm of penitent work. Eliza stirs in the ash, a pinch, a stir, a small ceremony, and the mixture turns ghost milk gray. She molds sheets from the vat, couched on felt, a gray like the Thames on a cloudy day, not pure, but honest. They dry, they ink, they